They'll work it forward here through Mariner. So a chance at the back end of this set. Put some pressure on the Knights as Haas comes to Hunt. And then away to Staggs, throws a dummy, beats Schiller, runs towards Gagai, and is taken down 10 metres out. Hunt to the short side, looking for space, can't find it, hands it off. It goes to Staggs, who rolls his way in. He has scored for the Broncos. Now Walsh goes wide to Staggs. What a ball that was. Play on here, knocked down by the Knights. It comes back to Staggs. Brisbane was 6 more tackles.
Well, they had Dean Mariner unmarked down that touchline and decided to come back in, but it's worked out and they get 6 to go. Reece Walsh dancing around and beating defenders.
Oh, look at him move, spinning, dancing, goes over the top. Out wide to Mariner, back on the angle. He gets into the in goal. They held him up. Now here is Shibasaki again. It comes out on his left-hand side. Karapani, a big step. Did he get the ball down? Still fighting. In the end, Todd Smith says yes, he got it down at the second attempt. But the outside backs were in containment mode only. Here's Walsh, flat pass, chance for Hunt through the front line. Gives it back on the inside for Walsh. And after they've waited, in fact, he gives it back to Kobe Hetherington to score in game number 100. One more for Newcastle. At the line crossing, Grubbers coming through. Thompson's there again. He's the kick chase specialist. Big Leo Thompson. Walters back on the inside. Haas one-on-one there. Did well to keep it alive. Comes back through the middle of the field. Toldy, and now out to Staggs. Here's Mariner. Flies through the air. Plants it down. It looked good. And the referee agrees. Here is Arthur. Comes through Croker. Pass hits the deck and then towed forward here. McEwen playing on. Collided with Walsh. Bradman Best. He puts the afterburners on. Won the race to the ball. If it's all play on, it's a try to Newcastle. He'll make the catch. In trouble there. That's wanted to hem him in. Couldn't do that as he runs all the way back to the middle. And then he was hit hard coming through. Jaden Hunt, who rattled him. And legally so, said the referee. Gagai now down the right-hand side. Gives it to Schiller. Down the sideline. Field! Oh, no! There's now Carrigan to Haas into a hole. He'll run away. What about that for a 12-point turnaround? Here is Hunt with Walsh wrapping around the back off the right foot. Steps past McEwen. Runs towards Gagai. Tries to weave his way around him. He beat him. Schiller from behind. Won't track down the superstar. And the Broncos here, smoothly comes across to Haas, and then Walters put through Shibasaki, and now Karapani gets away from Schiller, still going, look at him go, puts a kick in, past Billy Walters. Walters down the short side, and crashing in, one of the great stories of 2025 in Yamit Shibasaki. Smoothie at dummy half, comes across to Walsh, and then a flat pass out wide, put down here. Scoring for the Broncos is Dean Mariner. It's Cant, who played underneath the black dot. Here is Brayley, a steal, one-on-one by Shibasaki against Thompson, and they are off and running. Mariner across the halfway line, weaving in traffic here, still going. Chopped out eventually by McEwen. It looked like they were going to score. It could be the old 12-point turnaround the second time in this second half, and it will be. Jordan Ricky, Ben Hunt, a big winner today at full time. The Broncos 46, the Newcastle Knights 12.
Not the result you wanted on a day like today?
Nah, especially packed stadium. I'd anticipate that there'll be a few disappointed people, and along with myself and the playing group.
Twice sort of within 8 points there, but some opportunities went begging. I guess the game sort of was there for what, sort of 50, 60 minutes?
Yeah, I thought the guys done a great job in the first half. Not in particular, they got off to a pretty red-hot start, but the boys didn't drop their bundle. They'd done a good job. I thought we were close to the better team leading into the break, but unfortunately it goes for 80 minutes and fundamentals of the game really fell away, like simple passing. I think that's 6 2-on-1s that we've bombed in 2 weeks. And then fatigue and just fell off far too many tackles that led to tries in the back, 15, 20 minutes.
Dane, how did it feel out there?
Yeah, like I just said, I thought, they got off to a fast start, but probably the last 15 minutes of our footy was pretty good, to be fair. We went back to going direct down the field, getting to our end of sets, D'ing up, and I think we won a bit of momentum back going into half time. But then, just those little details, giving 6 agains, kicking the ball in goal, 7 tackle sets, not finishing off tries. There was a couple of another bombed opportunities, and that's been us the last couple of weeks. Just the fundamentals, just passing and catching, and just a simple part of the game. So one thing I'll never fault the boys is their effort. I know the scoreboard doesn't show that, but players like Frizz and some of the boys in the forward pack there, to get back on a few of those line breaks, it's a massive effort. But we just got to be better.
Those fundamental errors have been a sort of issue all year, Adam. Why hasn't it been something I guess you guys can kind of perfect?
Yeah, it's a question that needs answering or fixing definitely over our summer. We're at a point now where it looks like we're trying that hard that we're making the simple things so hard, and I guess a bit of anxiety and pressure sort of adds to that. I think a narrow focus over the summer to make sure that we are getting the fundamentals. Some of it is experience on the big stage and fatigue, that it's not so much, Tyson Frizzell or this guy. It's some of our younger guys are coming up with the errors. So naturally, experience will fix it, but, we can't wait for that. We need to make sure that we're focused on it in our training. And like I said to the players after the game, fundamentals of tackling and passing. Well, if you want a long, fruitful NRL career, you've got to be good at those 2 things. So we'll fix it.
How do you get the boys up for the last 2 weeks, Adam?
The last couple of weeks has really tested us clearly. But they've got pride in their jersey, and I know no one feels it more than the playing group when they let that, to have that place, our home, our stadium, packed, sell out after only winning 2 games this year. I reckon every club in the land would be envious of that. So the weight of letting them down, weighs heavily with the playing group, but they've got pride. They love playing for their club and their teammates. So they're professionals. That's what we get paid to do, but they actually have a love for the club and they'll want to go out and perform. And I know that some people won't see it that way given the scoreline, but like Dane just said, there's parts of our game that, to get your whole team back after a long-range line break and get your line back intact at the end of the game when it's 40 points difference, but they're still fighting hard, that's a good sign, because these times won't last while ever you've got that sort of desire in them, and they have that, just not everybody can see it just yet.
How's Jack?
Cogger?
Yeah,
he's got a tight calf. I'm not too sure. He's with the physios now, but he couldn't continue. So
results-wise, in 2022, you had a similar season to this one. Do you think you can turn it around next year like you did, I guess, in 2023?
Well, we've got to believe that, don't you? I can't remember exactly what happened in 22, but I think a lot of it had to do with some personnel being out for big periods, and then he obviously fell away towards the back end, and Yeah, as I said, naturally we're going to get half a dozen good NRL players back into the team over the summer. You think about Dylan Lucas and Fletcher Sharp and Dill Brown, but guys coming to the club. So he's signed a few guys. So you're going to get some experience. You'll get some benefit of these young blokes going through days like today. So they'll be better for their second pre-season. But there's clearly work that we have to make it happen. You know, fundamentals and some tackling need to improve for it to turn around.
You get Greg back next week?
Yeah, he hurt his back in the gym squatting, and it just got worse over the week. And then we give him up until today, and it just tight. It was still too tight. So I'm confident that over the course of the next 7 days it'll settle.
Madge, how do you reflect on that one?
Really pleased for Kobe and Benny Hunt. Obviously, we had some milestones there today with Kobe playing 100 and Benny Hunt 350. I said before the game, it's a privilege obviously to be a coach of a player like that, and I think the players backed that up by getting the performance they did. It was probably a bit clunky at times, and we'll assess various parts of the game, but really pleased how the boys were able to get to the end of the game with the opportunities they did.
A confidence-boosting win, I guess, ahead of the finals, or leading into the finals?
Yeah, we're really focusing on just building who we are. That's one thing. I'm sure Paddy will talk about that, but we just got to keep building on what we're doing. I see, and I've said it for the last sort of couple of months, I really sort of see a shift in how the players are going about what they're doing, and it's credit to how they're stepping up to the levels that I believe we need to get to, and they believe that too. So, it's a business end of the season.
The camp down here this week helped that?
Yeah, I thought it was excellent. Everyone has a bit of a chatter about the camps as such, but to see the players come together and be around each other, I love going to camp with my players. You get to sit around and spend a little bit more time away from the field and getting to know each other. So that's a big part of what makes up teams, and the players were able to do that in a great way, and obviously reflected that on the performance for the two boys and the team themselves.
What about Reece's pass to Kobe there for his try? What do you make of that?
Well, he's obviously looking after his teammates, so we chat about those things, and that's part of what makes the team up, and we'll dissect the game, but just I want to applaud obviously Benny Hunt for what he's been able to do with to play as long as he has, and then come back to the club he loves. He loves the Broncos, and to be able to be a part of that is pretty special for all of us.
When it comes to Reece, do you forgive those few errors when he comes up with those, star plays later in the game?
Oh, look, I talk about the whole team. I know there's a chatter around Reece, but we are a team. And Reece makes up a part of the team that builds, a lot of the success of what we have, and the challenge that we talk about on how we can get better. So I'd prefer to talk around the whole team itself.
What changed out there in that last 20 minutes to put the foot on the throat?
Oh, to be honest, I think Newcastle deserve a lot of credit, mate. I think the last 2 weeks they've been playing really good footy, to be honest, and we noticed we had to probably stay in the game and build some fatigue. It was a pretty heavy track out there, so we could come through in the back end of the game, and I think, like Madge touched on, I think the more as a group we're willing to give to our teammates, then the more you can get in return, and those sort of things happen in the back end of the game.
How far away are some of your key injured players, Madge?
We've got Renault and Brendy. We'll assess those throughout this week. They're close, I think, but until we sort of progress through what they need to do, I don't know. And one thing is obviously, the boys are doing well at the moment, stepping up. And when the opportunities arise, someone like Jaden Hunt, he's doing a great job out on the left edge. Josiah Karapani out on our left wing. I thought he did really well today. He was challenged out there. And you've got to remember, it's in the old boys' day. I've been here where she's a fair game when you're playing against Newcastle when it's old boys' day. So, we had to challenge, and like Paddy said, they came at us quite often, and they were able to do a great job defensively. To hold teams to lower points is something there that every team's challenging themselves on.